John's like Beetlejuice. If we talk about him, he'll show up.
That's true. It's worked the last 2 times. So
I know what I can say to get. I know what I can say to get him to join. 7 characters password complexity is plenty.
Yeah. John just pops in.
Yeah, trigger word. What?
Yeah, someone earlier in chat said how you're in a room with no windows and no doors. How do you get out? Here's all you have to do is say that 7 characters. John. Yes, you can summon John through the wall. It's like Kool-Aid Man.
Yes.
Fix the wall for my dad.
If that doesn't work, then try venture capitalism or something like that.
Investors.
Yeah. I'd like to buy Black Hills.
I think this is obviously a bingo card for how to call John Strand.
Yes.
Middle management is a necessity.
Oh, Jesus.
It's not working, guys. I don't know what else to say.
We're trying everything.
When in doubt, just consult PCI's recommendations.
Yeah, that was a good one. I had that on my Bring John, Summon John bingo card as well.
Yeah, so for everyone who's watching, that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to summon John by saying things that he'd absolutely show up to interject in. So.
We're Beetlejuicing him, but through trigger words.
Through trigger words. It's weird, though. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. You never know. It's maybe not quite like real Beetlejuice. So, we got some good stories for today. Did anyone else look at the stories?
No.
I put them
talking
there.
about
Of
keyboard.
course.
We were talking about keyboards. That's right. We had an epic conversation about all the keyboards you should buy before you die. Is that what you said, Corey?
Yeah. I said basically it's like keyboards are like music. There's a bunch of different kinds and no one agrees on what's the best. It's like, well, I mean, if you like death metal, you like death metal. If you like classical music, you like that.
Everyone in chat
Roger's got
all
one.
this stuff.
2FA isn't a requirement.
It's an option. It's an optional security
it's like
enhancement.
A suggestion, really.
Let's see if we can what if we can use some of these news topics to summon him, like ransomware compliance requirements, government regulation of cybersecurity.
Oh, government regulating security.
Government mandated backdoors.
Government mandated backdoors. That is
a couple
a
of
hot
those in the
security
news.
topic.
It's almost like GitHub going freemium or whatever.
What? GitHub's going freemium?
No, I just made that up.
I know, you scared me for a second, though.
Download the GitHub Metaverse app today.
Oh, now you double buzzword. Everyone's very upset. Where are they going to get their exploits from? The Metaverse?
Cyber weapon dealers are on the rise.
You have to get an NFT to get the latest 0-day.
Yeah, that's how Metasploit premium licensing works now. You just get an NFT. It checks against that.
Wow, dude. Metasploit has moved to NFTs?
Mm-hmm.
Man. All right. I think we've tried enough summoning.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think we got to get it rolling. You ready?
All right. Yep, let's do it.
Okay, here we go.
Welcome to Black Hills Information Security, talking about the news. I'll be your host today, Ralph May, because John's off saving the world as he is, or training groups of people, wherever he's up to. We tried summoning him earlier, but we were unable to. Today we're going to talk about all kinds of fun stuff, mainly ransomware? No. But REvil did get taken down, and the government's getting involved in whether our security is good or not, amongst many other stories. And we have a cast of characters here. Not as many as usual, but the ones who show up are the best ones. We got
That's
Corey
right.
Ham.
Ralph, are you wearing a hoodie?
I am wearing a hoodie. It's in Florida too. It is cold here. It is over 50.
I cannot believe
over.
that you even own a hoodie.
I know. It's wild. It is. We got Noah and we got Ryan, who makes us all look pretty and keeps us moving around in circles and stuff. So
We're
I just
Brady bunched
shuffled the
right now.
video squares around. That's
We're
it.
Yeah.
Brady bunched.
for sure. So what do you guys want to talk about?
But you said REvil got taken down. What does that even mean? I didn't know you could take down ransomware.
They did.
Also,
They
I
took-
thought we took them down before, and then again.
No,
and then
we're taking them down again, but this time Russia's getting involved. So Russia, the FSB, I think is the proper name for their mob squad, arrested. They searched 25 addresses and detained 14 people. What's funny is there's actually a video. It was on Twitter or something of them like doing the arrest or whatever. I mean, it seemed very propagandish. That's just my opinion. But anyways, they arrested, like I said, 14 people. They seized 426 million rubles, which sounds like play money, but it's not. 600,000 euros and
600,000 doll hairs and 500,000 euros.
Euros. There you go. You nailed it. And then the computer equipment and 20 luxury vehicles. I just wonder what kind of cars they were. Corey would be interested.
I stole your computer. Send me a car? No, I'm assuming. I assume they were using them to store assets, right? Probably.
Well,
Yeah.
if you look at like the video too, like I will agree with Ralph. It was very like propaganda-ish. But yeah, there was like just like opening like the kitchen drawer and then like money in there, and you're like, okay, come on, guys. Like
I
on top
assume-
of the knives.
Who thinks? Yeah, someone said a lata. It was probably like it was 20,000 latas, which is worth $10. But yeah, basically, I wonder: is this real? Do we think? Do we think this is a real takedown, or is this just Russia playing fun games?
So I think the bigger question is like, does it matter? Is it really going to stop the gang? And I don't think so. And honestly, it appeared in my personal opinion that it looked like kind of just like, hey, we roughed them up a little. Don't worry, we're not letting them do their own thing. We're in control here. Yeah. So I don't know. I don't think it's gonna
I
change
just
anything.
saw an episode of the show The Americans, which is about Russian spies living in the United States. And after watching the show that I just watched, where the two countries were Russia and I think it was Israel, I think were the ones involved in this storyline, and they made some sort of back deal to exchange spies or something. And then the public facing story was something completely different. So it just makes me wonder, like, what was the deal that the US made with Russia behind the scenes to get this sort of a headline in place? That's where I was thinking. But we don't. there's
You can
something
have
else here.
Ukraine.
It's a front.
You take Ukraine, then we'll take these criminals.
Yeah,
I
if you
guess.
let us invade Ukraine, then you have to arrest these REvil people because they're.
I feel like
don't
it's not a great trade, like trading a
I
whole
know.
country. It's one country for, I don't know. I've played Risk, okay? You don't just give up whole countries.
By the way, everyone, we are definitely hypothesizing here. What happened?
Yeah,
Who
we are
knows?
not political science people. We have no idea what we're talking about when it comes to
Or just
geopolitical
science
matters.
people in general. Like,
Yeah. Well, what?
Or basically even people. I mean, let's be
Yeah.
honest.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I mean, I'm hardly a computer science person, let alone just a regular science person. So
So let me ask the real question. Do you guys think that this is going to actually stop the gang? Or when I say the gang, I mean REvil, or does it matter? What?
I think REvil will return in season 3. I think we'll see it again, but that's just me.
This is already season 2, isn't it? Because it already was
Right,
taken
yeah.
down once.
This is like the
Yeah.
season finale of season 2, and season 3 will pop back here in a little bit.
I mean, I think it also goes back to attribution. I mean, the code is probably out there at this point. Anyone can take it and run with it as a service or as a, group.
And I mean,
So-
like, then there's the whole thing about, like, we will definitely see the name again. like they will come, like someone will come back claiming to be REvil, whether it's actually them or not. I don't know, but they're going to try to use that name. They're going to try to recycle that name.
Is it anonymous? Is Anonymous still around? I feel like they still are. How they've been taken down 100 times.
No, Anonymous is still around.
They're still around. But so check this out. Another story we had, and this is very much related. I guess Russia also arrested one of the hackers behind the Colonial pipeline attack, right? So I guess like this was all like one. Either they were part of REvil. Like,
I think they were, weren't they?
Yeah, was it REvil that did the clone? Oh, okay, yeah, it was. Never mind.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah.
So, but
like, anyways,
I think they got more than one because they got them all.
Yeah. So
supposedly,
anyway,
that's what they say.
They got all the guys that were chosen to take the fall.
Right. Yeah. They got 10 out of 10 scapegoats.
So do you think they drew straws, or what do you think, like the Russian method of deciding?
Oh no. Okay, sorry. We got our signals crossed. Dark Side were the Colonial Pipeline people, and then REvil was another ransomware group.
I thought they had some partnerships still.
Are you telling me they're 1099ing these ransomware developers? They're like, hey, I have a super successful ransomware business. Would you like me to show how?
And they're like, and the other group is like, yeah, it's been a little slow for us. So you know what? For some hands-on training, absolutely.
Okay. So just to clear it up, and according to this story, I guess they're saying that this person worked for both, or could have worked for both simultaneously. REvil and Dark Side, right? Yeah, exactly. So, and this is according to the FBI. I don't know, man. This is definitely feeling like some deal with Russia and the U.S. to, like, either knock some heads or some kind of trade was going on. I don't know.
Or that guy had, done things that Russia didn't like. And so they were like, you can have him. We don't want him.
Easy option is, yeah.
The real question is, what car did he drive? This guy that worked for both ransomware actors. Was it a Lada or was it something else?
Ooh, that's a good question. What kind of car does a ransomware operative drive? Right?
Depends on how successful they are.
Probably Windows XP. Wait, no, that's not a car.
It'll crash.
Windows XP equals Lada. Same thing.
All right. So anyways, ransomware is all solved. Russia solved it and made it at the same time, which is really fun stuff. So
that's how you win. You create the problem, then you solve it.
Yeah, no, definitely. Create it and then you solve it.
Just like antivirus companies that go and make viruses on the side. Oh, wait, that doesn't exist.
Oh, man.
So how do I protect against ransomware? Can I just switch to Chrome OS?
No, wait for season 3, Corey, when they start dropping their anti-ransomware software.
Well, see, that's another news story, because Ryan, there's a news story that says hotel chain switches to Chrome OS to recover from ransomware attack. Okay, so it's Nordic Choice Hotels, which operates 200 hotels across Northern Europe. They were ransomware on December 2nd with Conti, which we all know. We've seen their op notes. They're better than every pen tester's op notes.
They're good.
Then they couldn't get to their data, etc. But now they did a press release and basically said, we didn't negotiate.
Solved it.
We did not negotiate with the terrorists. We have switched to Chrome OS. 2,000 computers were converted over the company, the hotel chain explained. They use a tool called Cloud Ready, which can prepare and port old Windows and Mac computers to Chrome OS. I mean, I guess on one hand, it just seems like almost a joke. It's like you crash your car, you just buy another car. It's like
instead of it, no. This is more along the equivalent. I mean, that said, Chrome OS is where everything is going. I mean, those browser level OSs, realistically, that's where they're going. But I would almost argue that it's not like you crashed your car and bought another car. You crashed your car, then you bought like a moped, and you're like, this is much better because I can't crash a car if I only own a moped.
I mean, I will say that it is the funny thing they said is that they can save 60 million, which is 6.7 million, by buying new hardware because I assume Chrome OS will run on like a potato. So it's like they have like 1999 Dell Optiplex, giant things, and they're like running Chrome OS. People are like, wow, this is so fast.
My browser loads amazingly quick. Yeah, it's the whole thing.
And then
So
like operatives are like, wait a second, those rootkits from 1999 just came back online.
does anyone know? I mean, I haven't done a deep dive on Chrome OS. I know it's like limited privilege Linux environment, Linux-based environment.
It's basically, think like Android, but apply it to a desktop. Like, you don't have root privileges, like you never had root privileges, you don't have any of that. So until you actually root it, you have to root it like an Android phone.
And I assume it's a restricted ecosystem. All the apps that you can install are, I mean, I guess
you don't really install apps. You just use Google Sheets.
You just use web apps and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I guess here's the thing. If we've seen it before, we've seen it 5 years ago. You can totally still ransomware cloud-based stuff.
Oh yeah.
You just take a control over the account and change the password, and then say, if you want your files back, like, you know what I mean? It's also yeah.
And I mean, there's 3 different types of ransomware, but the 2 most common is, one is like, we're going to crypto lock all your stuff. The other is, we're going to take sensitive information. Like,
that still applies.
They're only trying to fix the one type of ransomware. I have sensitive information, like, social security numbers and stuff like that. You can still just pull that off.
I will say the press release was a bad idea, because now someone's writing a ransomware for Chrome OS.
Chrome OS. Yeah.
Well, why'd they have to press release?
OPSEC-wise, they're just like, all right, I know how I'm getting in now.
Right?
Because it's going to be probably a young environment running Chrome. So
yeah,
like, you can basically look for like common misconfigurations in Chrome OS and start prying from that point.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, I think it's kind of look over here, we're doing something interesting. Don't worry about this pile of flaming garbage in the lobby. Look over here. I mean, it is, and also the data was breached online and was leaked, so.
No, but they moved to Chrome OS. Don't forget about that.
Sorry, what? They moved to
Chrome
OS.
Yeah,
that
don't
fixes
worry about
that. Leaked data, that's fixed when you go to Chrome OS.
I was wondering how my credit card got stolen. Chrome OS! No, I'm just kidding.
Chrome OS.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So I guess, honestly, though, you are right that Noah was right that I think that this is probably the way things are going, right?
The thing is, too, though, like, they say that they're going to Chrome OS, but how does that actually... I mean, you can do some stuff that way, but what about their credit card readers? Are they running Chrome OS? Like, what about do they have, like, a POC in, like, the little guest lobby store thing that is running probably still on Windows? I mean... Yeah,
I would say skip the difference and go straight to iOS. Just go with as a service everything. Like, that's what everyone just uses Square or whatever, like you don't actually, like, are we a credit card processor? No, we just I guess hotels have more of a complex application, but I'm sure there's, IKEA style Scandinavian web interface for hotels that you can use.
Yeah, right. Hotel OS. That'll be the
Hotel
next
OS.
one, right?
That's even
just made for hotels. Just
all
for
the
you.
folders are called rooms. You have to check into the room. Room service is what they replaced demons with. This has some legs. This can go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We're giving these ideas away for free on this podcast.
Oh yeah, for
just
sure.
announced the new competitor to Temple OS, Hotel OS.
Is that all the ransomware hits? We got more ransomware hits.
I think that's all the ransomware hits. So for everyone,
there's a Qnap one, but
don't skip the Qnap one. They're going to switch to Chrome OS too.
I think they pretty much are Chrome OS, but so Qnap are.
This is Log4j based, isn't it? Or no?
I think so.
Is it?
I know they got kind of put on the hot seat because of the Log4j stuff in their products, but I'm not sure if this is that. It doesn't really say in the article.
Yeah, I guess it doesn't say. I just kind of was under the impression that it was, but
No, I think they're just getting attacked. So for everyone who doesn't know, Qnap is a NAS vendor that makes these small home consumer. They do have some enterprise. Somewhat.
They're used in the enterprise though.
Yeah,
like,
they are.
I've walked in there and seen entire like ESXi clusters running on them for storage.
So they're just it's a storage operating system, and this is actually similar to Synology as well. And they're obviously being targeted for attacks because a lot of people will, have them at their house and they'll open them publicly to the internet so they can access some of the services that are behind that. They are designed for that. But, obviously when you set these up, you're just like, oh, I turned it on. It works good. But you don't really think about configuring any of the security settings. And, of course, they're being attacked and there's lots of them. And it's easy to scan the internet to find out what they are, if their version, and if they're just improperly configured.
So it does say...
Go ahead, Corey.
I was gonna say it says UPnP, which is like basically the Qnap device can punch a hole in your firewall for itself. Qnap has said, don't enable UPnP, but I assume if you read the setup guide, it says
with it on.
Right, it ships with it on. So it's like they're like blaming your firewall for having UPnP enabled, when really their device is like, hey, firewall. Let me at him.
Why did you do that? Why did you ask? I mean, first off, but I will also say though, like in Qnap's defense, like I've used some of their hardware. It's not half bad in some cases. They also provide a security check tool where you can basically just go into the menu and hit the security check, and it will tell you where your misconfigurations are. It will tell you, even in this case, that, hey, by the way, UPnP, which we enabled for you, but UPnP punched a hole through and the web interface is available on this port on your firewall.
Yeah, so. Qnap is only being targeted because they're popular. It's not a particularly badly designed or weak product. It's just, this is a common attack. It's similar to like all those Netgear devices from years ago. It's not, more than anything, it's just that they don't get a lot of updates. And I don't know if they had like built-in auto update to these older devices or not. But
I mean, I don't know about some of the older stuff, but on the more modern stuff, they definitely do.
Yeah. So if you do have a Qnap device, please either patch it or just take it off the internet.
Just disconnect the cable. No, so, and I mean, I think this is just more of like hey, they're targeting you more than like you're definitely vulnerable. But the other thing is that UPnP, like, you probably should disable it and just open up the firewall port yourself. Just decent OPSEC and decent security configurations.
So the one thing I would say for this is, like, depending on your skill level, like, this is set up in such a way, obviously with UPnP, it's very minimal skill level. But if you have the like next level of skill level up, if you want to have remote access to something like that, then like set it up behind Cloudflare or something like that. I mean, it's free, so
or a VPN or 1,000 other ways to do it.
Zero trust with Cloudflare, but
zero trust with Cloudflare is if you do have that level of awareness. I do think, don't you have to pay by the gig for that?
No, it's free. They have a free plan. They're like up to a certain amount. I mean, you're not going to make.
Is it users or gigabytes? Because if you're doing your backup remotely,
it's users. I think it's like 25 users or something like that.
Oh, okay, no issue.
Yeah, and I think if you like run too many gigabytes of traffic through it, they'll be like, "Hey, you need to start paying." But if you're just using it for some basic remote access, you're not like transferring like ISO images every day, all day, you'll be fine.
Yeah, it is a product for someone that probably doesn't have that skill level to set that up. But
I mean, like I said,
it targets home user.
That's pretty much the basic home user. I mean, UPnP is made for the whole plug and play aspect. Basically, you plug it in, it sets everything up for you.
Well, this is why, what I do? I just run Apple devices which have no vulnerabilities at all that we should not talk about.
No, not no vulnerabilities. They're immune to all viruses.
There's definitely not any backdoors, are there, Ralph?
No, but yes, there is actually. So Windows, Mac OS, and Linux all have been susceptible to a recent backdoor that has been undetected until now. I guess they're calling this one, I'm not sure who coined it, but it doesn't matter. What is it, like RatJ, I think it is, or something?
No, it's it's Cis Joker, man. It sounds like something Matt Eidelberg would make.
Oh, yeah, it does sound like something Matt would make. Matt did not make this. Anyway, so Cis Joker is C++, and it targets Linux, Mac OS, fully undetected from VirusTotal. So if you submitted it to VirusTotal, it would have said you're good, which I don't know if that's the bar of entry we're going to go with here, but let's do it. But yeah, it had been undetected for a while, and it affected all 3 OSs. So Mac OS is not safe. Everyone throw out your Macs. We're all getting Chrome, baby.
Well, it says Linux.
It doesn't say anything about Chrome OS, though. It only says Linux. Which Linux is different because they've taken Linux and fixed it. That's what they did. Really, Chrome OS is more of a port off of Android than it is off of Linux. Now, Android is a port off of Linux, but
they wrote it in C++. So I you know what, I'm going to go ahead and say they were advanced. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
This isn't your normal run-of-the-mill Python malware, folks.
I guess the file masqueraded as a TypeScript app and
on
got
Mac.
into and npm JavaScript repositories too.
It would, I'm hoping that our DFIR security friends that do blogs publish some cool stuff about this, because I'll be very interested to see how they implemented different portions of this on different OSs. Personally, I have done a lot of testing of EDR products on cross platforms. Like I did a test where it was testing similar techniques against all 3 OSs, and I will tell you that when you're not on Windows, a lot of these products are just like, I saw something, I'm not sure what it was, because it didn't have a Windows event code or anything. So,
yeah.
But I mean, obviously that will change over time and products will improve. But it is interesting. Cross-platform rats. Who knew?
Yeah, I guess this one has a server or control server domain, or it gets the control server domain by decoding a string retrieved from a text file hosted on Google Drive, which Google makes Chrome OS, so maybe they're part of the whole game. But and then the server name is changing all the time. So this actually domain name. So they're getting the control server DNS name from Google Drive, and it's rotating often. So
that seems like a not great IOC, but I guess it worked, so I can't really say it's stupid.
Yeah, I guess they were saying that they thought that during the when they were looking at it, that the attacker may be monitoring the infected machines, so active. I don't know. Fun stuff, though.
Yeah, it'll be interesting as more details unfold. But it does have a cool name. Cis Joker. That's a pretty good name. So
Cis Joker.
Whoever named it, good job. Intezner. I don't know how to pronounce this name. Intezer, I don't know. Some security firm.
If you discover it, do you get to coin the name? Or is there a committee?
That's the only reason people do malware analysis.
That's it. We have pretty much...
I'm going to be the next shell shock.
Well, the other way that malware gets named is they give it, the malware researcher gives it a name. And then later the developer reaches out to them and they're like, no, you got it all wrong. It's really called this. And then, that's how you get those names.
Honestly, I'm shocked it wasn't written in Java because it was cross-platform. But
I mean, but then it'd been susceptible to
Log4j.
Log4j, yeah.
Someone's testing Log4j payloads and then they get a call back from some guy's C2 server. They're like, oh, okay.
No, a good team. They would have patched it right away and sent it out to all their agents. So,
that's what you pay for with the premium ransomwares nowadays.
Yeah, the premium ransomware, get the premium service, and the premium rats, and there's a lot of.
So there's no other Apple vulnerabilities, right? Nothing with the encryption. We've never talked about that before.
No.
Or any Safari. No. Nothing. Okay.
No. Apple.
I came here to feel safe.
Oh gosh, yeah. So I guess Apple's been having a fun one. Yeah. So iPhone or Apple's on. Well, we'll talk about the Safari one first. So I guess Safari's got a bug that allows websites to track your recent browser activity in real time, which is pretty fun stuff. I guess it is an IndexedDB leak, and they're able to be able to look at your traffic in real time, which I'm not exactly sure how they were doing it. Did anyone dive a little bit deeper into this one?
I didn't, but it looks like it was this database generated by Safari that was like insufficient permissions were on that database.
Why?
There are artifacts created by websites that can be traced to specific websites. And yeah, if you're wondering, let's see, is it Ryan's not vulnerable. For anyone that pulled my browser history, I apologize. I swear I actually know how to write Python. I wasn't just Googling Python format string like 300 times. Don't question it. It was showing someone else. My brother took my computer.
No, here's what I have questions on. They did this, and you were doing this on your phone? That's my question.
No, dude. Safari runs on Mac. I mean,
I uninstall it immediately. I don't use it on Mac. Actually,
Well,
I don't think you can.
Uninstall Safari.
Yeah, I know.
one does not simply uninstall Safari.
Uninstall Safari.
Challenge accepted.
So the bug is fixed. Your data, your browser history data. Let's be real. How often is this already being mined anyway? I mean, Amazon knows where I've been. I get ads for stuff that's so specific that I don't even know that I want it. But
And you buy it. That's the worst part.
But it's not great when it's the browser itself that's supposed to be like, Apple's a privacy company. They protect you.
Right.
We care about you.
And I mean, it's not like a browser is like at the same significance as like a operating system by chance. I mean, or like they're building an entire operating system on the back of a browser.
Chrome OS.
It's not Safari OS.
Yeah, it's not Safari OS.
No, I'm pretty sure that iOS is basically Safari OS at this point.
Yeah, a little bit fancier. I think it's funny though. In the article, they're like, private browsing mode does not protect you against this. Private browsing mode does not does not prevent anything. Like protect you from anything. Anything.
It just sort of.
Don't put it in private mode and be like, oh yeah, now I can go to any site I want. No.
Dark web, here I come.
I just love how in like you switch to incognito mode or something like that, and it's like has to give you a whole disclaimer like this will not protect you from your employer. Like if you watch porn on your work computer in this mode, you will still get caught.
I feel like when people click on that, they're like literally pull their hoodie over. They're like, all right, I got this.
Homework folder is about to get a little bigger.
Yeah, exactly. Anyways.
So yeah, I guess use a different browser. Someone mentioned the Opera browser. I don't have personal experience with that, but Firefox is always a solid choice. I will say I'm not sure. There's only a few actual different browsers. It's like cell carriers where there's like actually only 3, but everyone just resells the same 3. So I think,
Well, there's like 3 good ones, and then there's like 7 viruses that people like to use occasionally too.
I feel like John has mentioned the Opera browser, so I'll say it's probably a pass, but I don't really know.
It's like one of the 4, but
I'm always a Firefox person, but they've the Mozilla Foundation.
Thing is, the more you go through it, there's like really only 3. Like, well, it is not even 3.
There's not 3. It's just 2.
It's really it's like Firefox and then Chromium, and then they just reskin Chromium.
It's Firefox, Safari, and Chrome.
Yeah, Safari does
their own stuff.
Safari's still just Chrome. Safari's just Chrome. No, I'm just kidding.
No, it's not. I hate to defend them at this moment of weakness.
Edge is Chrome. I think Opera is Chrome too,
Opera
right?
Is Chrome.
Opera is Chrome. Brave is Chrome. Chromium is obviously Chrome.
Right. And when we say is Chrome, we mean the Chromium open source version, not the closed source. But put on your tinfoil hat and go down the rabbit hole of where the source code matters. I don't know. So there's no other Apple vulnerabilities, right?
Most of your browsers are just Chromium OS, or just Chromium OS. They're Chromium and then like where you send all of your data has been pointed to a different direction. So you're like, oh, I don't want to send it to Google. So like, okay, cool, send it to Microsoft. Oh, I don't want to send it to those guys. Okay, cool, send it to Brave. It just changes where you point the data. Otherwise, it's the same code.
Yeah, it is. And there definitely is more Apple vulnerabilities. Mac OS has got a new vulnerability called Power Directory. and it could lead to unauthorized user data access. This is
Published by Microsoft. Ironic.
Oh, come on. I feel like this is like shooting cannons at each other. Like, oh, look what we could discover with your.
It was the Defender research team, though, right? So it's not like it's actually like Bill Gates didn't find this.
That's what he thinks about. He's doing all this great philanthropy, and you know what? He's gonna take a moment to stop.
He's like, you know what? Actually, I have some unresolved conflict here with Apple.
It's been a while since I picked on Apple. Let me just sit down and hash out a new vulnerability.
So this is Shrootless, which I assume is a Dwight Schrute reference. Just kidding.
The following discovery of Shrootless, I think this is different. This is Powerder. It's powder.
So they're going hard on
Hold on.
Apple.
Given that name, I've got an idea. The vulnerability is in PowerShell when you install it on Mac OS.
That is not true.
That is not true, but it should be.
That would be actually really funny if they're like, "Dear Apple, you need to fix this," and it's like it's PowerShell.
So
this one has been patched. It said at the end.
To run through this vulnerability at an extremely high level, not a researcher at Microsoft, there's this thing in Mac that prevents your home directories and other directories from being accessed by applications. If you open up a terminal and you cd documents, it pops up in this TCC, which is transparency, consent, and control. It basically says, do you want to give this application access to your documents folder or your downloads folder or your pictures or whatever?
Kind of like the UAC on steroids, but for Mac.
Yeah.
It's like UAC if you could do it, if it was useful. If you could actually go in and see like what has access to what directories, and it's also directory specific for like your downloads. You can give it things access to downloads and not access to your documents or whatever. I believe this exploit lets you bypass those controls. So you can use this exploit. Go ahead, Ralph.
Oh, no, I was going to say you can access the TCC database and change and grant arbitrary permissions to any app you choose, including malicious apps.
And it's a pretty simple, what is this? It's the source code.
What? It's a SQLite database.
But literally you can use a built-in command line tool to trigger this vulnerability.
Oh, that's how you know it's good.
But there's also a public bash script exploit that you can use to check if you're vulnerable.
The directory services command line utility is what DSCL, and that allows you to change it out.
There have been a long line of these kinds of vulnerabilities in this TCC library, which makes sense if you think about it on a technical level. If I approached you and said, hey, so we're going to take this Linux or Nix-based environment and we're going to apply permissions to an additional set of permissions to every directory in the OS. And also control system functions like sharing your screen or accessing your microphone and other things. It's just a complicated thing, but...
Well, and realistically, it would be targeted because there's a lot of attack vectors that would require those kind of permissions. So there'd be a lot of eyes to try to bypass it.
So Defender for Endpoint can detect it. I will say it's kind of funny that you're bypassing something that doesn't even have an equivalent feature on Windows, right? It's like Windows is like
Microsoft's no, that's not how you do it. You need to do it like this.
We don't do that around here, says Microsoft, but we bypassed it.
I guess this also affects time machine mounts. Or there was another vulnerability.
Those were previous exploits. Those are previous exploits for TCC.
Yeah. Yes.
So,
and those have been patched, and then this one was a newest. So this is a iteration of people attacking or looking for vulnerabilities in TCC. So.
If you have Microsoft Defender for Endpoint running on Mac, it can detect this. It probably can't detect actual malware, but it can detect this.
Or if you run
you don't
Chrome
need to detect
OS.
the malware because Mac OSs are invulnerable to malware. So you're
it probably can't detect
viruses.
crypto or whatever it was called.
I made that correct. Even
the rat.
Yeah.
The rat.
The rat that we already talked about, Cis Joker, can't detect that, but it can detect TCC bypasses.
Don't you dare TCC bypass, but come on, Joker. Oh.
All right, is that enough? Apple have we
Have we beat up
disagulated
Apple
Apple?
enough?
Well,
yeah. Have we
were-
made
There
the
is
point?
one more. Apparently, they're in trouble for their encryption tech, but it's a Telegraph article and it's paywalled, so
Yeah,
I
so
can't actually read
stopped. I turned around. I hate paywalls.
We do not do closed sourced articles.
it. Something about they're in trouble over encryption, but
Yeah.
Kind of their thing.
I wonder if that. Well, I didn't read that one, but I wonder if it's related to the blitz of undermining privacy for chats. I think maybe it's for about encryption. Maybe.
Well, realistically, there's only two ways you get in trouble with encryption. Either your encryption was too good or your encryption was too bad. Those are the only ways you get in trouble with encryption.
Well, lately they're saying the encryption is too good. As I think. is what
No,
they're saying.
I mean, nobody's like made new encryption. I mean, like you've either implemented it or you don't have it. So you're either getting like beat down because you didn't implement encryption, or you're either getting beat down because you implemented encryption and now nobody can like people are using it to talk anonymously.
Yeah.
Nobody can read those messages.
Yeah,
It's literally the whole
and then the next thing that comes up, this is like textbook, right? As soon as we can't read the communication anymore, child pornography, we got to stop it.
Save
And
the
so we
kids.
have
Save the children.
kids, save the kids. And so next thing we need to do is decrypt this information, because if not, then all the kids will be.
But this has been going back since well before. I mean, things like the Clipper chip and triple des and everything else. So, I mean, basically,
Export
since encryption started, we've had issues with wanting to either been too good or not good enough.
Yeah.
Really, effectively, you could trace it back to as far as World War II. But
So I am reading this article on someone. There's a news article that just pasted this article. Like there, that someone has like reblogged this article, which I'll send it to Ryan. He can decide if it's worthy of posting. I mean, but yeah, basically, this is about that Apple's private relay service, which is like, isn't that their like VPN as a service thing that they provide?
Yeah.
Here we go.
yeah.
I know about this. Go ahead, though.
So I don't actually know about it. Is it with iCloud Plus or whatever? You get access to like an Apple VPN? Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Kind
so
of, yeah.
Apple is providing a service that with iCloud Plus, it is the Apple's private relay, and it's designed to pretty much be like a always-on VPN for your Apple device, right? And
You won't guess who is mad about it. Vodafone, Telefonica, Orange, and T-Mobile, who were previously profiting massively from mining their data, have officially said, "We don't like this. We even they got together and signed a letter."
yes, it was unfair that you had privacy. We are going to go ahead. And so what they did is they blocked it.
Hold on though. Isn't Vodafone owned by T-Mobile? I'm checking.
It doesn't matter. They're all one
I know.
company.
Yeah, but I was like, I'm looking at the other names too, and I'm like, isn't this all just one company? Like they came together. They're literally in the same office. I'm pretty sure.
They even said it would undermine digital sovereignty. What the heck does that mean?
Digital.
Do they view them? Do cell phone providers view themselves as sovereign nations, or what?
I guess.
No, data sovereignty isn't. That's a real term though. That has to do with like data like originating inside of the U.S. and then like exiting in some other country.
Yeah, and I guess it makes
But-
sense because you have this obfuscation of like, well, if it's going through Apple's private relay, where is it coming from? We don't know. We can't apply GDPR regulations and all that
So
stuff.
here, I think, is the big reason they did it. Besides Corey's statement about data mining your
Oh, that's
private
the main
history.
one. I
But no, there's the other one. Hold on. This one, and this one I think is also in the back of their mind. Because when you use a VPN, for the most part, they can't really tell where you're going or what kind of traffic you're consuming. And they want to know, is it Netflix? Is it whatever? So that they can throttle that traffic and keep bandwidth, restrictions at bay, right? So,
Right.
yeah, I think that's the other thing, too. Because I know for a fact that all the carriers are very specific about those, like, Disney Plus and Netflix and stuff. They will throttle that traffic specifically on your phone, right? On purpose to, keep a kind of a what is it? Whether it falls in your plan, all kinds of fun stuff, right?
Yeah, they do like some data prioritization stuff and quality of service type things, but because they'll prioritize all of that actual like voice over IP traffic over anything else. I mean, they're a phone company.
It says here that it will
so much. Go ahead, Corey.
Their complaint was it will prevent others from innovating and competing in downstream digital markets.
No,
that sounds like a good thing to me. I don't know what downstream digital markets are, but that does not sound. That sounds like downstream. I don't want anyone being downstream of my internet.
Yeah.
Listen. This comes down to like data net neutrality, which is the other thing with like this prioritizing of traffic, right? If you give priority to Netflix, how do I start another Netflix alternative or whoever the incumbent is, right? And so paying for that speed or paying for that low, whatever it may be. And so they're like, what? Well, we can't charge Netflix extra to go faster if you don't let us know that it's Netflix.
Right.
So
yeah, and also we can't build networks that support traffic, enough because we need that money for shareholders. So instead, we need to be able to prioritize and just throw away all the traffic we disagree with.
Yeah. So it sounds like the Apple, private relay is not that private anymore because you pretty much have to turn it off. It was also beta too. Apple was like, it's still kind of beta. So
you have to turn it off.
So I guess we're gonna all have to go to a different VPN. Sorry. Moving on to a new one.
Well, when I watch YouTube, they should use NordVPN. That's what I say.
Yeah.
Well, that has been an ongoing long battle with Netflix. Like, can you use Netflix over VPN? That is like, I think that has been a back and forth blow between Netflix and the VPN providers for years.
Oh, yeah.
And I think recently Netflix kind of stomped everyone out, but I'm not really sure.
Yeah, I haven't used Netflix in a while, but last time I checked, like, I tried a whole bunch of stuff. They even detected it when I was, like, routing through DigitalOcean on a VPN, so...
I think I think there are still things. Like, I know that Linus Tech Tips did a video recently where they had, like, a box that you buy as a service that you put on your network, and it's supposed to, like, get you Netflix no matter where you live. Like, that is the service.
You know how that works, though? Like, the way that...
it's a bunch of VPNs.
Yeah.
It's a bunch of VPNs, but the thing is that it makes you an exit point as well, usually. I don't know about this particular box, but usually the way it is, when you do it, you sign up for this, like, almost Tor-ish type of network, where you're an exit point, and so if someone wants to watch TV in the US, then they can exit through your network to get that. And if you want to watch TV from Netflix in China, like, you exit through their relay.
If that was open source, that would be pretty cool. But having a company monetizing it is a little sketch.
Yeah.
But it is that, like, the concept is there. I mean, obviously, I assume it comes down to just DRM, right? I assume it's like, well, you could use basic AI stuff to be like, let's see, you're using a Netflix account that's in Canada and you're coming out of Morocco. Did you fly to Morocco? No. Okay. No.
I'm on business.
I'm on business.
I deserve to watch my Netflix.
That's one thing with Netflix that I never totally understood. I'm like, why not just say, if you're a U.S. registered Netflix account, effectively I suppose you could sell them off and there'd be ways to bypass it. As we all know, DRM and hackers have been living in Unity for years and years. So.
Yeah. I feel like I feel like it probably comes down to like a legal thing where they can't just sell like a Netflix US service. You know what I mean? Like, like if they could be like, okay, you live in the UK and you want Netflix US, it's $25 extra a month. Like, people would pay it. You know what I mean? But I assume they can't just... they can't get away with that because of the regulations and broadcasting.
Taxes.
Yeah.
Well, and like pretty much every time I talk to someone about this and it comes up like, hey, can you help me? Like, what do they want to watch? They want to watch The Office or something like that. Usually The Office, though, which got taken off of Netflix a while back. So that way CBS could put it on their own streaming platform. So the reason they can't sell it in the US is because it would compete with CBS's streaming platform.
Right.
They don't offer it in China. Or wherever else. So therefore you can watch it in China.
Yeah. No, it's a very complex shell game of different rights and broadcast, domain stuff. But
so I guess enough picking on Apple. We've hit them up for 3 stories. What about these scammers who are putting fake QR codes on parking meters, right?
Oh, I love this one.
Yeah,
this one is great.
If for anyone who hasn't had to pay for parking recently, pandemic or whatever, I don't know, maybe you don't own a car. But if you do have to pay for parking, a lot of the meters now have turned to these smart meters. And, whether it's owned by the city or owned by a private company, and they'll have like a QR code up front, or you can like put your credit card into it. But a lot of them have like a QR code, and some of these will even be at the parking spots. So they're just like, oh, pay on the app, put the, your maybe your license plate number in the parking or the license plate number and maybe the parking spot number and pay. So I guess scammers are putting fake QR codes and redirecting it to their own wallets.
Yeah, so I have a story to go with this because, like, I for those who don't know, whenever you see a QR code, you should never scan it. Like, I don't know why QR codes.
I always scan it.
I don't know why the QR codes are still a thing. Like, I wasn't even interested in InfoSec when I was like hacking QR codes effectively. So the story, I've told it on here before, was back when I was in high school was when QR codes were really starting to become cool. And everyone had these like mobile devices that you could take pictures of and stuff. So one of the like local clubs in the school, had this, like, they put up these flyers and it just said, club name. And then there was a QR code and that was it. And basically it was like a Google Forms. They were doing like some sort of survey or whatever else. And so what I did is I went to the computer lab and I printed off new QR codes, and I made a sheet that said the same thing, club name, QR code. But it went to a different Google form for a different survey where I just asked really random questions. And then later, like, just rickrolled them. Basically, it redirected to rickrolling. But like people, A, gave you really stupid information that they should never have given out. B, like, all I had to do was walk around and like put up new QR codes. We then saw this with like COVID again, when COVID first started and the restaurants were doing their QR code menus where people would make stickers with the same like look and logo. And then they would start putting them around there. People would scan them. And it would, and in the thing is like, we see more and more often where we have these browser, like, all you have to do is visit a link and your browser's compromised. And that also affects like, it's affected Safari some, with some of these. Now, granted, you're probably not going to find them in your local restaurant, but you cannot risk that. You should never scan a QR code. It is a terrible idea.
See, what's going to happen now, though, you're going to go to a restaurant in the very near future, maybe tomorrow, you're going out to eat. They don't have paper menus anymore. They only got QR codes.
I tell them,
you just told them you can't eat.
No, I do. I have stood on that before where I've gone there and they're like, oh, sorry, we don't have paper menus. I'm like, either get me a paper menu or you tell me what the special is and I'll go with that, or I will leave.
Just order off the menu. Just walk into every place and be like, hey, I want a pepperoni pizza. Mamma mia.
Mamma mia. What I thought was funny, so this happened in Austin, and city officials said they urge people to call 911 if they see someone without a city employee badge tampering with a pay station. So just like,
dude, everyone using them looks like they're tampering, dude. I don't know about you guys, but every time I use one of these, I look like I'm tampering because I'm like, no, cancel. Like, I don't.
The quarter's stuck. Why is the quarter stuck? Yeah.
But it's funny, they don't use them because there's really no alternative. But I guess to bring it full circle, we've ended up in a world where going to a bit.ly link or something like that is actually a better alternative. So if you run a restaurant by chance and you have, you need to present people with information, either use a shortened link like, whatever, bit.ly or any other shortener, or just have a website that isn't stupid. Like, your website shouldn't be pepperonipizza.weeblestuff.angelfire.co.uk.com.amazon.
And okay liar, whatever. I'm sorry about butchering your name, but he just posted a really good thing. Like, he's like, go to the restaurant's website. And that is also another thing I'll do. So like, if you're going to do something like that, make sure it's on your website. Make sure that there's an easy to see website, austinmeters.com, whatever.
Just make it, exactly. Just
that's
make it
way better than like a shortened link. Like, really, it is just as easy to bypass as anything else.
I will say also now with phones, at least on every iPhone, they have scan to text. So you can actually it will OCR. You could have just your website up and I can still scan it to a URL. And
what's funny is watching people who download like the alternative QR code apps, even though they have an iPhone or whatever. And they're like, half of those literally are just like spyware
Yeah.
Trojans and everything else. Yeah.
Paying $3 to download the QR code app.
Every time I see that, every time I see a QR code app and it's like $5, I'm like, what service do you offer that makes it worth $5?
I mean,
how can you possibly make scanning a QR code any better?
But not to cut Corey off though. He is right though. They will do like the text recognition on photos now. So
I guess if you run a restaurant, either just have a big whiteboard with your menu on it that everyone can see, or have, a better way than a QR code. Because even if Austin, Texas doesn't use QR codes, I mean, no one should be using them, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, and if you're parking and you see a QR code, just don't pay because you don't know if it's real or not.
Yeah, call 911 and say, I'm not going to pay for parking because it could be a cybersecurity threat. Thank you. Goodbye.
I listened to a podcast. They told me not to do it, and they also said call 911. So,
well, that's yeah. Only if you're in Austin, Texas, I would like to say. No other city has consented to calling 911 for people parking. I will say, honestly, the way some people park, you maybe should call 911.
You should, yeah. This is a hazard
911, what's your
everybody.
emergency? This guy is like
7-point turn. We've got a 7-point turn. So yeah, QR codes. Friends don't let friends deploy QR codes in production, I guess.
Yeah, I guess through. Oh, so I know we talked about Chromium OS, which is actually the most secure, or Chrome OS, which is the most secure OS that's ever existed in the world, and obviously is the chosen hotel OS for today. But I guess Chrome. So this is just the regular Google version as opposed to like the Chromium version, which is the open source version. Anyways, they're going to limit access to private networks, citing security risk. So it seems like we're going to circle right back around to this whole VPN, and now we can't read your data. So the new W3C specification.
This is going to break so much. Oh my God, I just read this. So Ralph, can I go to the internal website anymore?
What?
Like
which internal website?
Any internal website.
No.
Yeah.
No. It's bad. It's all bad.
Wait, so this is going to block like RFC 1918 traffic too?
It's a security concern, guys. All right. So here's the deal.
Oh, it is. It says it right there. It blocks RFC 1918 stuff. Oh gosh. There's no way. All right, I guess I'm going to Firefox now.
All right.
And I didn't like Firefox due to the whole DNS over HTTPS thing.
So wait, how does it actually work? Chrome will start sending a CORS pre-flight request ahead of any private network request for a sub-resource, which asks for explicit permission from the target server. This pre-flight request will carry a new header, and the response to it must carry a corresponding header. Oh, the number of internal vendor applications that are going to break is countless.
Astronomical.
Chrome was losing too many users to Edge, and so they said, I know how we're going to fix this. We're going to push them all to Edge simply because we're just going to break everything.
Man,
yeah, so
that's a disaster.
I guess
more headers, dude. Everyone's enforcing content security policy, X4. There's so many headers that we're already doing great with after 10 years of them being in the internet standard. So
all right. So plugins are the reason why Chrome is doing this, supposedly. When you download a plugin, you get access, or that plugin now can access those internal assets using those addresses. And so this is kind of like, or extensions, whatever you want to call them. And this is to protect that. So it's kind of putting some authentication, whether you actually want that device to be able to access that local network and so on and so forth, right? But as Corey has so eloquently put in multiple statements, this is going to break everything. So
yeah,
can't wait. So yeah, security in mind, we're breaking everything.
Yeah.
And as Google would do, they're not going to ask you. They're just going to flip this on.
Well, I mean, like in Chrome settings, you can oftentimes turn some of this stuff off. I mean, surely they're going to leave an option to turn that off. I mean,
if you are a company that is going to turn this off, please, while you're in there, turn off ask to save credentials as well.
Yes.
But yeah, I mean, I definitely think that this is one of those things. I understand on the technical side why it's happening, but I just know that there are so many reasons why it's going to break the traditional old school style applications. I mean, I guess you could solve this problem by just using Google Cloud to host all your websites.
That works. Just pay me.
Yeah. If you host everything on the internet, then you don't have to worry about this.
There's a perfectly simple solution. Just throw money at it.
Yeah.
You can fix anything if you throw enough money at it.
Yeah, I'm sure that IPMI, IDRAC 5 from 10 years ago will totally support this header, right?
Yeah.
So I can't imagine it breaking anything at all.
Oh, no. It won't be. I think that's all. Well, we got more, but that might be all the time we had. Did you guys have any other stories you wanted to talk about here? Besides, I mean, we severely beat up on Apple today. We gave Google Chrome the official approval for hotels, and then also said that Chrome OS, and then also said Google Chrome is about to break every website on your internal network. Anything we missed?
I think the last one we should end with is the Albuquerque public schools attack.
Oh, yeah.
The reason why that's interesting is because they canceled classes because of the cyber attack. They didn't have a backup plan to get kids in school.
Are we calling this a snow day? What are we calling this?
It's a cyber day. That's what I call it.
A cyber day?
I just want to point out, though, that now there are kids everywhere who are like, well, not everywhere. There are kids in Albuquerque who are like, I love ransomware. I want to be a ransomware operator when I grow up so I can help children like me.
All right, so it says the cyber attack compromised some systems that could impact teaching. I got that one. Learning, I'm questioning. Student safety? What?
Yeah, dude, their metal detectors run Windows.
Metal detectors and like camera systems. You'd be surprised how many like large scale camera systems run on Windows. It's actually really ridiculous.
I'm not surprised. What I am surprised is that we need that for student safety.
Well, it's going to be canceled tomorrow because of a cyber attack. That has got to be the most surreal message for a parent that just lives under a rock. You know what I mean? Like a parent that isn't really with it. It is just like, go to school, Timmy. Mom, there's a cyber attack. No, there isn't, Timmy. There's not a cyber attack that canceled school. No one believes you. Yeah, there is, Mom. Check your phone. Oh, my God.
I was talking to Billy, and Billy knows this other guy, and there's definitely a cyber attack going on. I heard, and they canceled the metal detectors, so you don't want me to go.
Because they don't have access, it becomes a matter of safety. Teachers have to take attendance every day, and if a student doesn't show up, they have to notify parents. If a student broke a bone in the school, they wouldn't know how to notify, all that kind of stuff.
How did we live before this? How did we do it?
I believe if I recall...
Rolodex?
Before some of that, I mean, like, Iowa is a little more behind on the times than some of those places, fancier locations. So,
are you calling New Mexico fancy?
Yes, New Mexico is fancy.
Very impressive.
What I would say is like I remember very avidly, like in middle school, they had a clipboard and it literally just had all of our names on it, and they would check it off and then send it to the office, and then they would file it away in these giant filing cabinets that like filled an entire room.
I think what actually happened in the back in the day is just no one paid attention. It's like if you listen to old podcasts about like prison criminals or anything, a lot of times like it was so trivially easy to break out of jail, like they just didn't realize. Like you could just like there was one person that just broke out of jail by climbing through a chimney. There was like a fireplace in the cell. You know what I mean? Like, I think that's just how it was. Like, who's at school today? I don't know. Looks like I did a head count. There's 8 kids in there, so should be good. Like,
yeah.
Now it's just parents are, expect a lot.
So here's my question for the group. Do we think there's going to be more cyber days? Is that what we're going to call them now? It's like cyber school days off. They're going to have to build that into the calendar now? Like snow days?
If you're in the South, I guess, yes. Because if you don't have snow days.
To an extent, I don't know that my understanding of this attack was that the school wasn't necessarily the primary target. It was actually the city of Albuquerque, which systems were integrated with the schools.
Didn't have any segmentation. That's a finding.
Well, yeah, it is. But there's a lot of schools that are integrated with their city, like their city IT systems, as well as police stations integrated with their city IT systems too. But yeah.
I do think, yeah, you're right. Corey, the look on someone's face, like, what? It's a cyber day? We can't go
No
to school?
kid, I'm telling you, if the parent didn't get that call directly from the school, no kid could convince their parents it's a cyber day.
Oh,
But-
well, hopefully they didn't actually do any actual ransomware or, some other. It sounds like they were successful at some level, but, is this the new normal? It's actually kind of scary, and not because of necessarily, but just that it's so common now, and that these systems are so integrated, and that the security is, a budget line item that I'm sure is very ignored, right?
Well,
there's
a
probably
lot of
lots
these.
other
I mean, if
things.
we're talking schools, they can't even afford a proper IT guy, let alone
Yeah.
a network security team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that comment by NC Cyber Threat Hunter is definitely poignant. Like, if you are heavily dependent on these systems, have you even identified that is the case, that you cannot have school without these systems, right? Like, is that, have you ever even wargamed that to be like, okay, what do we do if there's no power, right? Like, what are they going to do if there's no power? If they can't, I don't know, but
Yeah.
I guess they would cancel school. I mean, it's just interesting that the unavailability of certain systems is a cancelable event. But yeah, I mean, I guess it's time. This is probably the first of many, I mean,
We live in the future.
yep, this is what happens. I mean, if you're dependent on these systems and they don't work, then
And I mean, the truth is we are dependent on these systems now, and more possibly than ever. And, a lot of these places have never thought about what if they go down, right? Because they never go down. Amazon never goes down. Facebook never goes down. I mean, unless they lose the key or something. I don't know. But we do. We get so reliant on these systems, and we don't think about, what we're going to do if they're not there. So maybe that's a question that especially people with small budgets should be thinking about, right? Because either that or you need to invest more in security, which they do, but where does that money come from? It's not quite like a business that has a reputation and millions of dollars, to back that up. So
yeah, I mean, it definitely is one thing. It's the proof that cybersecurity and those who practice it are becoming more and more mainstream every day, right? Like, now we're up there with the weather for canceling school.
We've achieved weather status.
oh
Yeah,
my gosh,
it's
that's going to be a
hackers-
real job at like
Which-
a news studio.
Which is why last week we had the cyber news report of,
Yeah.
we've got some APTs coming in over New Mexico. Hopefully none of them hit, It's
Yeah.
there's an APT alert on my phone on the weather alerts. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, this is how it is now. This is the new normal.
We could make a Black Hills app that just has APT alerts. It's like a tornado warning.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
No, wait, this sounds way too much like a threat intel feed. Quick.
I know.
Cancel.
We're
John
down the
pops
road.
in. That's the one
Yeah.
that gets him in.
We
That's
could make
the Beatles.
some fun siren noises that play when you get hit by an APT though.
Yeah, there you
Yeah.
go.
Just air horns.
Oh God, I could just imagine you're just get these. What is that noise? Oh, it's a cyber attack! I swear. Black Hills is cued us in.
I mean, everyone has seen the movie Hackers, okay? We know we can control traffic lights, random office building lights. I mean, everything is running Windows XP, so.
And with that, I think we're done.
Yeah, I think we have.
If you got a cyber day, you better at least watch one YouTube video on cybersecurity.
Yeah, that's actually the homework for today. Watch one video.
That
on
if
your
you are a
cyber day.
kid watching this, first of all, what are you doing? Second of all, go watch some YouTube videos about cybersecurity and how you can prevent these attacks, because it is possible. Believe it or not, it is possible. It's not the weather. You can stop a hurricane.
All right, I guess with that, take us out, Ryan. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you guys next time.